man across from me, Keyshawn Johnson, did with Marvin Harrison Jr. The totality will air on Big Noon kickoff on Saturday ahead of Ohio State and Michigan, right on, be on Big Fox, obviously. And Keyshawn Johnson, what was your biggest takeaway from that interview, that sit-down you had with that young man? And you knew and know his father very well.
Yeah, it made me laugh because you said my first and last name, Skip. But he's just impressive. I mean, his size, and he looks just like his dad, his body structure, everything, except he's stretched. And I told him that, you're like stretched. Pops was a lot shorter, not as thick. Now, Marvin Harrison Jr. got all the same skill sets. He can go get it with the best of them. If you leave him single coverage, he's going to kill you. So I look, here's where we are with this draft stuff, Skip. Last receiver to be taken #1 overall was me. Okay, Kelvin Johnson should have been the #1 overall pick, potentially. You know, Randy Moss could have been.
Yep.
When you look at Marvin Harrison Jr., he's in line with all that to potentially be the #1 overall pick in this year's April's draft, 2024 that comes up.
Yep.
You say to yourself, okay, there's a lot of quarterbacks out there. Doesn't matter, because teams that are at the top of the draft doesn't necessarily need a quarterback. When you look at Chicago sitting at #1, and I know everybody thinks that they're going to take a quarterback and move on from Justin Fields. I don't think so. I don't think they're moving on from Justin Fields. Saw Justin Fields the other day when he came back off injury, played pretty good football. So you start to look at that, you say Chicago needs another home run hitter to go along with Justin Fields. You grab a guy like Marvin Jr. Arizona got their quarterback, okay? If they need a receiver to go along with Kyler Murray, who's going to be there for several more years. The Patriots, I don't know what's going to happen with them sitting at the 3rd spot as it stands today. Have no idea. Then the Bears again at the 4th spot. Then the Giants. They all need this type of guy to change what they do in the receiver room.
So what do you think he goes now? 6 what?
He's 6'3".
6'3"?
Yeah, he's 6'3". 205.
205?
Slim 205.
Okay, but his father was way smaller.
I think Marvin went about 5'10", maybe 5'11", and about 175 pounds soaking wet on a rainy day.
Yeah.
But he can play. And that's all that really matters, is he can play football.
This kid is serious.
No, yeah, he's for real. I've watched him all the way since high school.
He is as for real as Keyshawn was at USC. That's how real.
He looks just like his dad, though.
Yeah.
God, he looked like his dad.
All right, let's stay in college football. Let's talk Coach Prime. After that nation-rocking 3-0 start, Coach Prime's Colorado Buffaloes have fallen to 4-7 with one game remaining at Utah. Colorado's a 21.5-point underdog at Utah. So, of course, the Deion doubters, the Shadur skeptics were out in full force on Twitter late Friday night as the Buffaloes were getting thrashed at Washington State 56-14. Yet Deion remained extremely confident yesterday about what he's building at Colorado. And remember, the transfer portal just opened again on December the 4th. So here's some of what Deion had to say yesterday.
We pretty much put a mark in college football, and what we're going to do from here on, it will never be the same. I promise you that, because I know how we're recruiting. I know what I know. And I know where we headed. And you got to be crazy if you can't see it. It's easy to look at us play and say, okay, all they need is that, and that. We right on schedule with the plan. The plan is to improve every darn thing we touch. Did we sell out every game? Did this team get better?
Yes.
Isn't there hope and still? What's the problem? Somebody tell me what's the problem. So what you're trying to say is we didn't live up to whose expectations? Because I know this team. I know what this team is capable of doing. So what didn't we do?
Deion, best interview in sports on a daily basis. Keyshawn Johnson. How about that? Do you consider Deion's first year at Colorado in the biggest picture success or failure?
Success. You can't even put a number on the success, all right? He took over a program that won one game. One game.
Yep.
Okay? He's got him at 4. And like he said at the end of that clip, whose expectations? Because he knew his team. He knew what he had. He said it from day one. But what happens in these situations, in a situation like this, is number one, he's Deion Sanders. So those people that are jealous or hate the fact that he was able to get a Power 5 job and immediately, as soon as he had success at the HBCU level, he didn't have to do all of the things that they may have done just to get an opportunity because he's Deion Sanders. He's prime. So they coming after the 4 wins and the 7 or so losses. They're coming after that. They're saying, see, you started off, you were supposed to be this. It wasn't him ever saying that. It was us. It was me and you and Richard and Michael Irvin. We're the ones that's up there with the pom-poms because we wanted him to have even more success.
Yep.
We were rooting for him to go and beat certain teams and get into a postseason bowl. That's what we wanted for our own satisfaction, regardless to what the team may have looked like. We had the Colorado glasses on. We were not seeing straight. He was in the room. He had all the information. We didn't have all the information. We only had the information for what we saw. Oh, Shadour's really good. Shiloh's really good. Oh, we like this Horn guy. Oh, that's what we saw. He's seeing and saying, we need some more help over here. We need some more help over there. We're the ones that put the expectations on him, which is unfair to him because what it does is it brings out, Richard, the naysayers and the haters and the jealousy and all of those things. I'm with him 100%. It's going to be different now because people are seeing that he can turn things around. He didn't inherit a program. He didn't inherit Texas A&M. He didn't inherit Oregon. He didn't inherit USC. He inherited a team that was 1 and whatever at 11. That's a team that he got. In that one win, I don't even know who it was against, but it probably wasn't a big program. So, heck yeah, you almost made me curse, man. Heck yeah, he did exactly what he was supposed to do, man.
I agree. I think this is a successful season for University of Colorado. I think they're happy with what has happened this year. They're selling out stadiums. There's excitement around the program. There are big-time recruits there. There are celebrities there. They're on national television almost every week, regardless of their record. The interest in this school is high. And as they transfer to the Big 12 Conference, they have momentum. And it's not like, hey, this is a down-and-out dead program that's a lame duck program that nobody's looking at, nobody's looking to come to. People are still excited. Sure, this was a team that we put expectations on, to Keyshawn's point. We put them on after they beat a ranked TCU team because they came out with low to no expectations, and they had a big game. They overachieved in their first game, and they overachieved in a number of games. They were in a dogfight with USC. They could have won the Stanford game and had 5 wins, and they had a number of other games that they were in and could potentially have been bowl eligible. So there is growth, but Prime said it before the season even started, that there were deficiencies on this roster that needed to be addressed before they were ever going to be considered a true contender. Both sides of the line, offensive and defensive line, needed to be addressed, and we saw that. We saw that deficiency. There were games Shadour had, less than a second sometimes, a second and a half to process and throw the ball and get the ball off. He has the playmakers on the outside, but then again, Travis Hunter gets hurt for your toughest 3-game stretch of the season, and we're not talking about it. And so I think it's been a success. I think if this happens next year and they go 4-8 next year, after they get new pieces and after they have a recruiting class and that transfer class, then we're having a different conversation. But I don't think this is going to happen again. I think he's going to get the recruits that he's looking for. He's going to get the reinforcements, and they're going to have a bowl-eligible season next year, and that'll be success.
All right. My turn. I'm going to take some blame for this. Keyshawn mentioned it. I'm culpable, too, because at 3-0 after they beat Colorado State, it's not a great football team, but they beat them in 2 overtimes, and it was a great game to watch, and Shadour was really great late in that game. At 3-0, I think I went to 9-3. I might have. Maybe it was 8-4. I think
we all did that, though.
We all there, right?
Yeah, we were all.
Okay, because I would look down the schedule and say, yeah, and I'm looking through Deion-colored glasses because I just think he's a rare human and a rare football coach. And they did beat TCU, who played in the national championship game last year. They went there and beat them 45-42 on national TV. That's pretty great. They came home and beat just a decent Nebraska team, 36-14, with a new coach, but they beat them. Then I mentioned Colorado State, and now our hopes are ridiculously sky high, and they go to Oregon, and they get their doors blown off.
But we knew that.
42-6. Well, I didn't think it was going to be 42-6. I didn't know that.
Right.
And then they come home, and we took our show there for Friday, and they play Keyshawn's Trojans, and you know what? They hung in there, and it was 48-41, as Richard pointed out. That was pretty great.
They almost won the game.
No, they had a chance. They had a late chance. Then the more I look at it, I say, they went there and beat them. They beat a Pac-12 team at their place, 27-24 on a walk-off field goal. And then they come home, they're up 29-0 on Richard Stanford. 29-0, and you got me. They blew it in the second half, and they lost in 2 overtimes. You got me. And then, yet, they go to UCLA, and they hung in there. It was a decent game. It was 28-16. Oregon State was